Good afternoon, everyone. I know you're all enjoying your lunch, and it was very nice lunch, and please continue to enjoy your dessert. We want to go ahead and get our lunch program started. This is, in my opinion, one of the highlights of our conference. We have the opportunity today not only to get together and break bread and enjoy company with each other, but also honor some of the folks who are leaders in our discipline, and many of them who have sort of paved the way for all of us and set wonderful entrepreneurial examples in our discipline. So I'm very pleased to be able to moderate this event. I have two little housekeeping events I want to mention first. Earlier this morning, I've been talking about our sponsors and our exhibitors a lot and encouraging you all to stop in at the tables. And earlier this morning, I mentioned a little survey that you've been getting from the Journal of Ethics and Entrepreneurship. Encourage you to fill that out, but I wanted to tell you that that booth is only open till 5 today. So make sure you take care of filling that out and stopping by and getting your little thumb drive. I also wanted to mention another one of our exhibitors, Via Response. If any of you are using clickers in class, this is a new cloud-based platform to allow you to have your students actually give you response-type feedback to faculty on their smartphones or their iPads. Check it out. It's Via Response. You can ditch the clickers and get Via. It's right outside, so please take a look at that booth and all of our other great sponsors for today. It is, again, my pleasure to lead this session where we have an opportunity to honor some folks who have been leaders in our field. The first award that we're going to give today is probably one of the most coveted in our discipline. These are awards that are actually nominated by our members and evaluated by a team of USASBE members who have been awarded these awards in the past and have great experience in our discipline. And so they are truly significant honors for the honorees today. Our first award is the award that is probably one of the most as I said, coveted. It's the Entrepreneurship Educator of the Year Award. And this award is given each year to the entrepreneurship educator who has demonstrated excellence across all the areas of being an entrepreneurship educator, from pedagogy and teaching to research to service to public engagement and community engagement. And our winner today is someone that I have respected for a number of years. He is someone I would call a balanced educator. I've seen him providing leadership and mentorship to individuals all across our discipline, in pedagogy and teaching, in scholarship, and in public engagement and working with the community. What's so fascinating to me about this individual, when I went online, as we all do, to kind of check him out a little bit more, even though I've known him for a number of years and I know a lot of things about him, and I probably won't mention some of the stories and some of the things that have happened, but it was fascinating to me to read his bio online, the one that he wrote about himself, and the first line of that bio is about his wife. And the next sentences in that first paragraph are about his children and his family. He is truly not only a balanced educator, but a balanced individual, someone that I aspire to be like, someone who enjoys life and enjoys his work. He is currently the Jack C. Massey Chair of Entrepreneurship and the Director for the Center of Entrepreneurship at Belmont University. He's been a USASBE member since 1985, so he's been around a few years. I think he was only maybe 15 when he started, I don't know, something like that. He was, before going to Belmont and leading that program, and by the way, they've been the model program in entrepreneurship awarded by USASBE. They've won many other awards. They have wonderful entrepreneurs coming out of that program. But before that, he was the Schultz Chair of Entrepreneurship and a department chair at the University of St. Thomas. And it was there that actually I called him as a new entrepreneurship faculty member and asked for help, and he was really willing to help me with that. He was the co-founder and CEO and president of Atlantic Behavioral Health Systems. So he's not only been an academic, but he's also been an entrepreneur through his years. And prior to that, he was associate professor and co-director of the Entrepreneurship Center at the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh. He got his BS degree from the University of Wisconsin in Stevens Point, his MBA and DBA from the University of Kentucky. And he has a very cool blog, which has won all sorts of awards. And I would recommend that all of you go out and visit that blog and read it. It just tells you a lot about this man, his character, his integrity, his love for entrepreneurship, his love for people. He talks about his father and the influence of his father. It's fascinating. He's one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. He's a very special colleague to all of us. Please help me welcome and congratulate Dr. Jeff Cornwall, our Entrepreneurship Educator of the Year.
Thank you, Rebecca, and thanks to all of you who I consider my friends and colleagues. As I thought about what I wanted to say to you today, I found myself reflecting on the words that are part of this title of this award I'm receiving today. USASBE. USASBE has been my primary academic home since I attended the second USASBE meeting ever held in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It was not quite as swank as this place, but it was a great meeting. The people in those days were just so welcoming to people like me. I was teaching in a college of business back at a time when entrepreneurship was not a very popular thing to be interested in. We were often marginalized. We faced hostility among our colleagues and often found ourselves having difficulty getting tenure and advancing the academy. But there in Milwaukee, I found a group of friends. I found a group of people who would help a young professor who had a passion for this discipline to connect. I've stayed a member of USASBE ever since, including the 9 years sabbatical I took from academia to go off into the private sector. Even during that time, I never let my membership lapse. Entrepreneurship Educator. It's interesting that I'm receiving this award at this time because I've made a bit of a career decision recently. I've decided to start spending more time in the classroom. It seems that we often try to find ways to spend less and less time teaching, but for me, that's what I love to do most. And so I've made the decision to change my path just a little bit in life and focus more on what I love best, and that's teaching. John Steinbeck once said, "I have come to believe that a great teacher is a great artist, and teaching might be even the greatest of the arts, since the medium is the human mind and the human spirit." My caution to all of us is we have to be very careful during these times not to just focus on building wonderful cathedrals for this discipline. While all of the entrepreneurship buildings, entrepreneurship colleges and departments, entrepreneurship dormitories, hatcheries, incubators, and student-run ventures, all of these things are important, all these things are wonderful. But we must not forget what needs to happen within them. And that is shaping the minds and the spirits of our students. Educator of the Year. Clearly, as I thought about this, that was the most humbling thing as I reflected on this award. You think about all the people who've won this award in the past. My dear friend George Solomon, who I guess I have to call my mentor, or he may not nominate me for anything else in the future. I thank him for his very kind nomination for this award. I'm always going to be grateful for George for doing that for me. Mike Morris and Don Caraco, whom I'm now working on a new book that celebrates and honors all the amazing entrepreneurship programs that all of you are creating across the country. Grandpa Fred Kiesner, who believed in me at a time when I was trying to come back into academics, starting my second academic career, and he was always so encouraging and helpful. The late Jeff Timmons, he was the one who I called when I was a young snot-nosed assistant professor who didn't know much. He was always willing to take my phone calls. He spent lots of time, and he was very patient with me, and really shaped my early life as an entrepreneurship teacher. And of course, people like Steve Nichols, Ed Rogoff, Arnie Cooper, Bill Bygrave, Tom Byers, Nancy Upton, and Chuck Hofer, all of whom have won this award in the past, and all of whom have touched me in some way along my career. I'm also humbled because each and every month, I have the great pleasure of writing the Entrepreneurship Educator newsletter. I continue to be blown away by the creativity, vision, innovation, and commitment I see from all of you. When I reflect on the breadth and the depth of the work that all of you are doing every day on your campuses, I'm humbled to think that I have been singled out this year to be recognized for the work that I do as an entrepreneurship educator. Finally, I wasn't supposed to do this, but I want to thank my family for all coming here from Nashville and joining me for this award. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Jeff, and thank you for all of your family for being with him today. We appreciate that you're here. I'm very pleased now to welcome to the stage someone who's been a big part of USASBE for a lot of years. His organization, the Coleman Foundation, is one that has been a friend to many of us. When I first started in entrepreneurship, I was fortunate to be able to get one of their entrepreneurship awareness grants. And because of that, I gained some credibility on campus. Prior to that, nobody thought we should do anything about entrepreneurship. What is that? We can't spell it. You don't know anything about that. So getting that grant was really big for our university. And this organization has been a great friend to all of us, or many of us in this room. Please help me welcome to the stage Mike Hennessy, who is the Executive Director, President, and CEO of the Coleman Foundation.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here to present the John Hughes USASBE Advocacy Award. It was established in 2003 to recognize an individual or an organization who's consistently contributed encouragement, support, physical or intellectual or spiritual resources, time, talent, and skills. And certainly this year's winner demonstrates all of those attributes and has done so for over an extended period of time. Jerry Katz has described Harold Welsh as one of the founding fathers of entrepreneurship, and I'm quite sure he's commenting on his skill and ability rather than his age, but I will have to check that with Jerry. He's widely known as a scholar. He's published 4 texts, he's collaborated on 8 others, and produced over 25 published articles. He created a 3-volume bibliography that's become a standard in the field with over 32,000 entries. He's well known for his expertise in areas of entrepreneurship education, gestation patterns, privatization, technology, commercialization, formal and informal, strategic planning, and other areas. As an educator, Harold founded the entrepreneurship program at DePaul. He's held the Coleman Chair in Entrepreneurship, which was established in 1985. He's continually working on the coursework and redeveloping the programs at DePaul. He's been an advocate. He served as president of both USASBE and ICSB. He's been the chairman of the Academy of Management Entrepreneurship Division, and has served as the chair for the Coleman professors and chairholders that we convene on a regular basis. We have continually looked to Harold and other members of that Coleman Council for direction and guidance on where the next big issues are in the field of entrepreneurship. And certainly Harold and Jerry Hills and Bob Brockhouse were responsible for establishing the relationship between the Coleman Foundation and USASBE. He's been a member of editorial boards of 6 entrepreneurial journals. He's a convener of 2 senior entrepreneurship scholar forums and served as a national judge on numerous prestigious entrepreneurial panels. He's instrumental in establishing the small business development centers in Poland and served a pilot program to establish an MBA program in Prague, Czech Republic. He's a builder. He established the Entrepreneurship Center, the Coleman Entrepreneurship Center at DePaul, with a vision as a way to engage students and outreach into the community. And we have a shared vision of an applied, hands-on approach to developing future entrepreneurs. And probably the characteristic in Harold that's the most outstanding to me is his one of being a mentor. Anybody who has called on Harold for help with anything has received it. I'm sure you can imagine that we end up with faculty members, young faculty members, established faculty members, calling the foundation on a regular basis saying, how do I do this? And I don't often know the answer, but I know who does. And that's called 1-800-HAROLD. And he's always been there and spent hours and hours of time with young faculty members. And there are legions of business owners in the city of Chicago who call Harold their own. Last night we had a gathering of DePaul alumni here in San Francisco, and you all have seen it and can appreciate the look on alumni's faces when they come back and they see you and they haven't seen you in a while, but yet they remember everything that you've done for them. And I watched these young people walk in the door and look at Harold, and there it was. There was that look that keeps all of you going and makes you do what you do. And so for that, it's one of Harold's just amazing attributes and traits. And above and beyond all of those professional accomplishments, I think you'd agree with me that Harold Welsh is just generally a fine human being. It's my pleasure to present the Hughes Award, Advocacy Award, to Harold Welsh.
Thanks very much, Mike. And it's hard to follow such an eloquent speaker as Jeff Cornwall. I'll try to do my best. Although Jeff had stolen some of my lines, I want to do a little bit of history to indicate that I started when small business was not so popular. In fact, it was the ugly stepchild of the academic arena. When entrepreneurship wasn't cool. In fact, Carl Vesper called us flaky, or he accused other people of calling us flaky. And we had the image of a slick salesman, ethically challenged, not accepted by the deans, administrators, and our research had utilized simplistic methods. And there were only small pockets of expertise floating around. You could count on one hand the number of PhD programs graduating entrepreneurship people. And there were a few publication outlets. Mike mentioned the fact that we did a bibliography. The ABI Inform search in 1980 of small business and entrepreneurship yielded 500 articles. Today, it's 100 times that. 50,000 articles a year on entrepreneurship and small business. Jerry Hills and I had reluctant deans who didn't want to adopt entrepreneurship courses. So we surveyed 2,000 students in Chicago, and 80% of them thought it was likely or very likely that they'd own their own business someday. So we took that data to our deans, and the rest was history. So we convinced the non-believers. As a next item, I'd like to say a few words about John Hughes. John is has a PhD in the School of Hard Knocks. He was born in Wisconsin, became a paratrooper. He was the founder of his own CPA firm, CEO of Fannie Mae Candies, and chairman of the Coleman Foundation board, which has given more than $50 million to entrepreneurship education. John has the insight and forethought to leverage entrepreneurship through USASBE and the universities. He cajoled and convinced us to follow the experiential learning approach, and he thus allowed generous support to USASBE to provide scholarships for new members, for dinners, seminars, pre-conferences, coffee breaks, white papers, and so forth. John is now in his mid-80s and couldn't join us today, but the president of the Coleman Foundation is here, and we'd like to send our thanks through Mike Hennessy. John is a great individual, and his heart and his mind are in the right place. That is, in entrepreneurial support. In the last year or two, I've been studying and utilizing emotional intelligence factors, learning how to emote better. And actually, I was overwhelmed when I heard that I would be honored with the John Hughes Award. Mainly, I had three reactions: humility, pride, and gratitude. I was humbled by the fact that USASBE officers and the committee honored me with the award. They're a tough bunch, no easy pushovers. They go through a rigorous process, and there are many deserving individuals out there. So I felt really floored and blown away by their selection. The second concept is pride. I'm proud of the accomplishments that USASBE has been able to achieve. I consider myself part of USASBE, being the third president, and currently serve on the board. We provide syllabus exchange, entrepreneurship bibliographies, entrepreneurship cases, best practices, pre-conference, special topics, specialized interest groups, recruitment and career opportunities, mentoring by senior faculty, research conference, publication outlets, social entrepreneurship and other state-of-the-art topics, exposure to publishers and professional organizations, social media connections, doctoral consortiums, among others. I could go on and on. So I mean, where else can you get all this information for $125? It's really a gold mine of resources, and I'm proud to be affiliated with such a professional organization. Finally, I feel a load of gratitude in accepting the Hughes Award. I'm forever grateful. Beatty said it best: gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos to order, confusion to clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. We are fortunate in that our vision is truly blessed. Thank you.
Thank you, Harold. And at a point in your career where you could be excused to sit back and enjoy everything, I want to thank you for volunteering again to be on our board. You were just elected again to another office, so thank you for your service to USASBE over all these years. I'd like to now invite George Fazekas, who is the Riker Chair at Cal State Fresno, to come forward. George?
I'm George Fazekas from Fresno State, the Fellows Program of USASBE is called the Justin G. Longenecker USASBE Fellows, and I'm privileged and honored to chair this group. The objective of the Fellows Program, per the association bylaws, is to recognize individuals for outstanding contributions to the field of small business and entrepreneurship and to the association. With this, I'd like to invite all the USASBE Fellows to line up for the traditional hazing of the new members. Well, you can come upstairs, but okay, let's do up here front. The criteria for consideration as a Justin Longenecker USASBE Fellow nominee are to be current, of course, USASBE member and pay the $125 that Harold mentioned. And be a member for at least 1 full year at the time of nomination. Advocate for entrepreneurship and small business management nationwide in service of the profession. Sustain service to USASBE. And recognized nationally as a scholar and/or researcher in entrepreneurship and small business management. And finally, demonstrated excellence as a teacher, lecturer, and presenter in entrepreneurship and small business nationwide. I am convinced that the 2 individuals that will join the fold this year, Jeff Alves and Mike Morris, more than fulfill, those criteria, and I'd like to welcome them to the fold. Please join us. And as a final act, I'd like to pass this gavel, to Chuck Matthews, who is taking over next year in my role. Thank you so much. Welcome.
Thank you, George. Our final award today is the Max S. Wortman Jr. Award for Lifetime Achievement in Entrepreneurship. This award was initiated on the occasion of the 22nd anniversary of the founding of USASBE. This award is presented in recognition of a lifetime in entrepreneurial achievement that encompasses the ideals of entrepreneurial activity through new venturing, corporate venturing, or social venturing. Eligibility extends to both those who have pursued a lifetime of successful venture creation, as well as those whose life pursuits supported and advocated entrepreneurial ideas. I'm very honored today to have the opportunity to make this presentation. The nominee was nominated by Frank Hoy, who's been a longtime member of USASBE. And in his nomination, he talks about the leadership of this individual. This is an individual that has influenced many of us in this room, and I know personally as a female in a field that has been dominated by men, it is wonderful to see that our winner this year is a female, and she's someone that's had tremendous influence in the field, in the area of entrepreneurship for women entrepreneurs. She has created and grown numerous university-based programs focusing on entrepreneurship and small business development. And from her nomination, I'll quote, "She is acknowledged to be among the premier scholars investigating women in entrepreneurship. There are few in our profession who have influenced more people considering entrepreneurial careers, both directly and indirectly, in so many locations." Our winner today launched her career at the University of Georgia, where she was, after graduating from there, she became the Small Business Development Center Director. She then went on to be the Region Director for the Gulf Coast Small Business Development Center based at the University of Houston. From there, she became the Jack M. Gill Chair of Entrepreneurship and the Director of the Johnson Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation at the Kelley School of Business, Indiana University. And more recently, she was selected to initiate the Office of Entrepreneurship and Liberal Arts at Wake Forest University. At that time, Wake was one of 8 universities designated to receive a grant in excess of $2 million from the Kauffman Foundation to extend entrepreneurship education across campus. She has truly been a phenomenal leader in entrepreneurship. Not only is she currently at Wake Forest, but she also serves as a faculty fellow at McPherson College in Kansas. She's someone that many of us have looked up to over the years. And again, her research has been impactful. Her impact on the discipline and on center development and entrepreneurship across the campus has had a tremendous impact. And I'm sure that she is probably very excited about having the Max Wortman name attached to her award, who is also someone who demonstrated life achievement in our field. Please help me honor and recognize Dr. Betsy Gatewood for the Max S. Wortman Jr. USASBE Lifetime Achievement Award for Entrepreneurship. Unfortunately, Betsy can't be here, so I would like to invite Patty Green, I believe, to the table or to the podium to accept the award.
We're doing this as a tag team. So I'm Patty Green, this is Candy Brush. We've both worked with Betsy for quite a long time. And Howard, you're right, if entrepreneurship is now cool, Betsy's been one of the coolest for a long time. We've known Betsy for over 20 years and worked with her in quite a number of ways. But if you think about the fact of an entrepreneurship educator as really a blended model, Betsy's really one who has brought this together as far as our emphasis on both teaching, outreach, and the research pieces of it. From the teaching piece of it, she was one of those early small business educators, way out early in the field. And then you've heard about the progression through some of her groundbreaking work about how you do teach entrepreneurship across the campus. On the outreach side, it's like on the street, in the classroom and in the street, that's Betsy, really working through her SBDCs, thinking about what is entrepreneurship education for practitioners. So having a direct hand in job creation through entrepreneurship. And from the research side, Being one of the early ones also to look at behavioral questions about how entrepreneurs think and what they think about and those types of questions. And then of course from our perspective, being one of the founders of the Diana Project and recognizing the importance of the research and the support for women entrepreneurs. The other part about Betsy I would suggest is that when we were founding the Diana Project, we actually did found it from a walk on the beach, talking about what was important and what should do. And one of the things Betsy talked about was the importance of not doing really great research and work in this area, but to also have a really good time while we were doing it. And that's certainly a part of Betsy as well. So let's take a minute and hear from Betsy.
Hello. I am so happy to be receiving this award and just wish that I could be with you today. Not only to receive the award, but also to attend conferences, sessions, and to interact with you all. I met Max Wortman when I was a graduate student, many more years ago than I care to remember, and I was always struck by his incredible passion and commitment to the field. I actually think we all have chosen the best career there could be. As entrepreneurship educators, we help people achieve their dreams, but we also get to interact with the most interesting students, faculty and community entrepreneurs and colleagues. So I'm again really honored to receive this award and very thankful for it, and look forward to being at the 2014 USASBE conference in Fort Worth, Texas next year.
So like Patty, I would just like to say on a personal note, we've had the opportunity to work with Betsy over many years, and we have been very much influenced by her as well. She's an aggressive editor. She knows her theory, and she really likes to have a good time when you are working with her, so we feel honored to have had that opportunity. We also look forward to more work and to more contributions from Betsy in the future. Her leadership in the field is going to continue, we have no doubt, and most important, she's going to be leading us all out onto the dance floor. And so we would really like to thank the committee, and on behalf of Betsy, thank USASBE, and thank everyone here for this tremendous honor. I know she really appreciates it, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Candy and Patty. That concludes our awards presentation. Congratulations to all the award winners, and thank you all for all your service to USASBE. We will begin again with sessions in 15 minutes, so enjoy a few more minutes of break, and we'll see you back here or in another session then.